Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case. Welcome to the chat. So, within the last day or two, there's been some breaking news, as some of you may have already heard, about investigations with law enforcement and a warrant being applied to search on Jim Brenner's old property, his burnt out trailer. Now, this video is quite important because I'm actually going to be taking a look back before the law enforcement started investigating, as there was previous activity at the site and I feel it's been overlooked, okay? So we're definitely going to get right into that. I'm going to compare and contrast. First of all, I just want to share with you the original news report by ABC Utah about the overall investigation. Break that down bit by bit and then we'll proceed on with the other important stuff, okay?
Today, authorities searching the property of the main suspect. For every missing person, there's a family, and for them, the search continues.
Authorities in Nevada executed a search warrant on James Brenner's property. What the probable cause remains unknown, but what's clear is that it's getting a lot of attention.
So as you just saw, an official news report on the ongoing investigation. They could have worded it better, okay? Instead of saying a search warrant on Jim Brenner's property, they should have said Jim Brenner's former place of living or former property, as he doesn't live in Montello anymore, because up to his arrest, he was squatting in Lucin on Dylan Round's land near the grain shed, okay? Now, the other guy talking in the news report saying it's unknown the cause of this investigation. I think we know the possibilities of what it could be and what caused it. Possibly Ty, Lance and Doug, all contacting law enforcement about the area, with Lance investigating the place to begin with and capturing it on camera with Kimber, and then I think during the live stream contacting the law enforcement or detectives about the place, giving the coordinates, etc. I think that's what led to it, with Ty stepping in as well, calling, and I think Doug as well. I guess that consensus probably forced law enforcement to get out there and investigate. But it took some time, right? Because it was like maybe a week ago or so. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but it feels like it was a while ago since Lance went out there the first time. Now, in addition, with the news report, it did include footage from Salty Pancakes and Lance's point of view. Lance was present at the time by the roadside near Jim Brenner's property as a law enforcement convoy was coming in with all different vehicles and equipment. Now, I will show some footage or screenshots shortly and analyse what is what, but for now, the talk is about the cadabra, however you word it, dogs, like search and rescue dogs, which would be used to find Dylan, whether it be scent or his remains. And the question was, are they present or not?
I'm hearing on social media, somebody threw something on social media, cadaver dogs. Have you heard anything like that?
I know Elko was showing up in full force. They were not going to leave any stone unturned, so I'm sure they've got their dog teams out there.
So as you saw with Candice, there was a lack of certainty regarding whether dogs were there or not. However, Lance and Kimber did say they were present, and this is what was said after the investigation.
Just a short while ago, Candace Cooley confirmed cadaver dogs were used, but there wasn't anything found. She says Elko County's quick response is one reason why she wants someone else, besides Box Elder County, to investigate the disappearance of her son.
So finally, search and rescue dogs were used in the investigation, because if you remember, in the past, when it came to the boots being found with the blood spot on them, the police said back then that we're delaying the boots being tested for DNA because we want to use them with the search and rescue dogs for tracking down Dylan. Did that ever happen? I don't think it did. So that was a bit strange. But if you put that aside, the dogs were used this time, which is good, right? No, because as what was said in the news report, they weren't successful. They didn't find any evidence. They didn't find Dylan at the site. So that is disappointing. And for most people, that's probably how people think. Oh, that's a shame. That's bad. But then to some people, that they might not be surprised, because with all the twists and turns, roller coaster, up and down, misinformation, it's like to be expected. But as I said, there are important things to look at which occurred before the police originally got there, okay? And I will share that very shortly. But I just want to add on from the last few things muttered within that news report, quoting what Candice said by the news reporter, is that Elko County's quick response is why she wants others searching out there. That didn't really make sense how it was worded. You know, if they said like Elko County's slow response, delayed response is why she wants more than one group operating in the area, that would make more sense, right? If a group, if a department is already performing and doing it quick, then you don't really need anybody else involved. So once again, it's just dodgy wording, okay? But there is a contradiction, the way Candice is saying it. Oh, their quick response. Is it quick? Remember Lance, you know, days ago, a week ago or something, calling him, have you checked this out? Have you been here? And there was a delay up until just yesterday. So I wouldn't say that's quick, would you? And I'm sure you can agree in the chat, maybe when it's come to other stuff as well in the past, how long it's taken, you know, after all these months to finally get to this spot, this location, that even though they might have the resources, the equipment, they didn't even know about Jim Brenner's property originally, up until just recent, okay? And then some other spots as well, which they've not been to, but Ty and Lance have. So it does show that they are a bit limited. So it's not exactly great, is it? So it would make sense to why they need more people out there. But it's one of those things, again, the way Candice has said it, supposedly the way it's been quoted, is, well, you originally had that second group, that second set of people out there, the general public, exploring and investigating. Now, yes, you've still got that ongoing right now, but maybe there was a stronger presence originally, or there was people a bit more closer to the area when they were allowed to. But it's just that contradiction, because whilst Candice is saying we need more out there, you know, she said that at the start, we need more people out there searching, it would be great. Then she says, no, we don't want the general public anymore because of certain reasons, getting involved, getting in the way, contaminating evidence. But it was also said that the father welcomed the help, as well as the law enforcement who weren't, strongly saying, don't go out there, don't do this, don't do that. It was just Candice saying it. That's how it's been worded. Do you see how fucking all over the place? What a mess again. Doesn't help, does it? So one thing I do want to tie on to now, which I said earlier, was about the convoy, the law enforcement, the different vehicles. I'll show you some screenshots now because I just want to analyse what was present and what type of vehicles were used. So here are the screenshots, got a selection of them, of the different vehicles that passed by. Now, it was said that there was about 30 people on scene investigating, and that's not an exaggeration this time, because the amount of vehicles that passed by in Lance's video, it's quite a lot. And with some of those vehicles, I just wanted to get a few screenshots to zoom in and see what they're all about and if it reveals anything. One of the first ones was a white, chunky looking vehicle, and this was the best shot I got of it. So if I just zoom in here, as you can see, a crime scene van which has a few things stuck on top as well. So that's like they got all the equipment in, maybe forensics, gloves, equipment like that, barriers, tape, and all the other important stuff as well. So it's good to see something like that. That's what would be used when, trying to find evidence or remains of somebody initially. So that's interesting. You see in the distance, you got a couple more vehicles. Now, a few of them are just simple SUVs, off-road type vehicles, and it must just be the standard form of transportation, obviously, because of the area. You've seen other people in vehicles as well. There needs to be hard wearing, good tyres so they don't get punctures, because it is rough terrain out there, so that would make sense. Let's move on to the next slide. Now, this one's of like a white van, and I don't know if it was said at the timestamp before this white van passed or just after, but Kimber said, oh, they've got cadaver dogs. So my guess is, could they be in the back of that van? Maybe. I'm just thinking of police vans, and yeah, in the UK, when they have like the dog squad, I think they call it that, and they've got the dogs just like in the back of the van, so maybe that's where the cadaver dogs are, in that vehicle there. Can't quite make much out, it's blacked out, so kind of secrecy, who knows. And the driver, if that's correct, seems to be wearing glasses as well. Don't know what make that van is, but yeah, that's cool. Just zoom out. In the distance, you've got a few more vehicles approaching, some black ones and white ones, yeah. And then this one where it gets interesting, because you start getting some vehicles with trailers, and what appears to be on the trailers is off-road buggies, as you can see, which most likely will be used approaching Jim's trailer, because the ground is very bumpy and uneven. Now, they're not quite the same in how they look and appear, but these do remind me of what Salty Pancakes was in or on, you know, when they were scouting the area, when they were going past Lance and Kimber's homestead as well as Ty's farm. So that's interesting now, because just trying to understand the track marks and who could be responsible for certain stuff. Okay, might make a bit more sense later. Okay, I'm just going to the next one. There you go, that's another trailer with a red off-roader. And on the back of that, you might not be able to make it out, but it looks like there's an ATV, a quad bike as well. So they've definitely got all the manpower and all the correct equipment. And then one of the last vehicles to pass by, you can see there another SUV. Can't really make out the driver, the individual, but quite a long car. Is it a Dodge? I don't know. But then look at that trailer, look at all those quad bikes. Quite a few of them. So you got people probably using them, scouting the area, driving around, you know, the perimeter, the radius, trying to figure out where things are. Because as you saw with Jim's trailer, the items that were blown away covered a fair bit of distance, so people were probably driving around the outer skirts of that to see if there's anything and so on. So I think that's it of the screenshots. That was just one more of a different angle. So with first impressions, if you used to see that convoy, you'd probably think success, they're going to find something, they looked equipped, they looked determined, and yet still with all that and that presence, they weren't successful. Now, I'm not sure myself. Does anyone know in the chat whether they had ground penetrating radar systems, things like that, or were they limited? Feel free to let me know. Were they fully equipped, the law enforcement, when they were investigating, or were there some items missing which could have been crucial and needed? Let me know what you think. Now, with all that, okay, we now need to take a look back, because if you've got law enforcement going out there investigating and it's like, nope, sorry, we couldn't find anything. Yeah, you could probably say, oh, well, best luck next time. We'll just move on to a new location and so on. But if someone was previously there, they may have moved something, right? They might have taken something from the area. The reason why I say that, and this is where we get onto the important point, so hopefully you're still here watching, okay? So, okay, Lance went out there the very first time, which was maybe a week or two ago, and he filmed it. He found all the items scattered about. He found a barrel on the side with gun holes in it, and then a target practice thing as well. And the most important and strangest part was the 2 shovels. One blue one, which I believe was on the ground already, and then another which was a bit further down and was wedged into the ground, and there was a clearing as well. Now, when Lance went back there a second time, which was just a couple of days ago before law enforcement got there, he noticed there was already a visitor. Let me share the pictures with you.
I don't know. Looks like someone's been messing around up here though. There were side-by-side tracks. Yeah, someone's been poking in this. Look at that. Someone was poking in this. Someone was poking around in there.
Okay, so there is a few talking points, especially about the track marks, but we'll get more into that later and I'll show you the photos of that. But to begin with, one of the first questioning points by Lance was the shovels. So the blue one, first of all, Lance said it looks like it's been moved, it's been disturbed, someone's, touched it. Now we do a side-by-side comparison before and after. The first initial visit on the left and then the second time visiting on the right. At first glance it does appear it's been moved, but what you need to take in mind, these are two completely different camera angles. On the left, Lance is standing at the side of it. On the right hand side, he's standing in front. You see that white tube or whatever it is on the side on the left, that one there, that is that there, okay? So you can tell by the camera angle. In terms of the condition of the shovel itself, let's take a look. I mean, it looks a little bit rusty. You got to take in mind the lighting as well and camera quality. But then again, that looks similar. So both worn, to be expected. Is it possible it was slightly moved? It's kind of hard to tell because it's two different camera angles. You could argue it's been shifted a bit more to the right. It's been rotated slightly. Like maybe someone tried picking it up and then just dropped it back down. Let me know what you think in the chat. Has this shovel been moved? Did anybody pick it up? Or is it in its natural position when it was first found? Let me know what you think down below. So that's the first one, all right? Move on to the next shovel. This on screen is an original image, okay, when they first visited. You got the shovel, which is faintly visible, which is tucked in the ground, stood up. The surrounding area is fairly flat. There's a bit of a clearing, but it doesn't look like the ground has been disturbed in recent time as there is vegetation growing. Now, if we move to present time on Lance's recent visit, obviously different camera angle, but look at the ground now. It looks kind of bumpy, like there's small craters, as if it's been disturbed. Someone's been prodding away at it. Down here. Can you see? You got like a few little poking holes on the left, two there, one down there, and then a bigger one down here at the bottom. And then a bigger one down here at the bottom. So what's gone on? What I'll try and do is enhance the image very shortly, but I just want to do a side-by-side comparison like what I did with the first shovel. That's just a different angle. Here we go. So the reason why I used this image is because it's like a side-on one similar to the before photo, and I wanted it to be as similar as possible in terms of the camera angle, so then you could compare more fairly, because it was harder to do so with the first blue shovel. So on screen, on the left, you've got the original old footage, and then on the right, the updated return to the place. And aside from the colouring, obviously, the colouring is different of the ground and vegetation, but that might just be the lighting and camera quality, okay? The one on the right is 1080p resolution. The one on the left is 720 or below, because that was during a live stream, okay? Got to take that into mind. But when you compare the two, when you look at the ground, okay, you look at that area, then you compare it to this, you can see there's differences, like those holes there. Can you see them? It's like someone's been jabbing away, trying to poke in, see if anything's there. And you don't really see it here, do you? You don't. So that's interesting. I'll just enhance the right side of the image just quickly. Okay, so let's just start editing briefly. I just want to try and enhance the points. You know, sometimes changing the settings might reveal more than what you saw beforehand. It's about getting those shadows in to create that depth, to get that understanding of the holes being present. Yeah, there you go. Where it's darker, it goes in slightly, so it could be a gap, it could be a crack, it could be a hole. And you should start seeing them emerge on the ground. There we go. Right, I think I'm nearly done. Let me know if anything else shows up or if you've seen anything else within the on the screen and so on. Right, we'll leave it there, okay. So, we'll just zoom in. You should be able to see the ground a little bit better. You can see where it's been disturbed. I guess the question is, what was used? I mean, it looks like the shovel, the spade, hasn't been touched or pulled out, but someone has been prodding, trying to look at the ground, maybe the depth of it to see if anything's hidden underneath it. But yeah, there is more vegetation than last time, but that is to be expected, obviously, because that's nature, it's natural, but these holes are man-made, okay? Yeah, very strange. Now, let's move on to the track marks.
These are the tracks that are leading up to Jim Brenner's property. Supposed to be like a side-by-side.
So this is the part where it gets interesting, because if you put the tracks aside, you could discredit the shovel being moved slightly because of wind, the holes in the ground because an animal was trying to burrow into it. Yeah, you could, but once these track marks come into play, this is proof someone or a group have been there in recent time. Now, it can't be Lance or Kimber, as they would know if they've left marks. Plus, they walked across the landscape. They didn't drive up to Jim's former property, so it can't be them. As well, it must be recent time because the track marks are still clearly visible and defined. I don't know the last time when it rained. If you know, feel free to leave a comment in the chat and comment section down below, because that could help date back to when this person or group visited. Now, who could it be? That's the key question. Who's responsible? It can't be law enforcement, because when looking through the comment section at the time, as well, this was before the law enforcement stepped in, as you heard yesterday. This happened a day or two before that, so it must have been somebody else, not of authority, okay? We can try and come to some kind of conclusion or idea later, but I just want to analyze the tracks themselves, okay? So, looking at the tracks, not too deep. It's not a deep indentation, so it's not heavy. The vehicle that was used wasn't heavy. It wasn't an excavator or digger from the looks of it, okay? Lightweight. The width, they said it runs in parallel to one another, not too wide either, so that's worth taking that in mind. So the tread itself, the pattern of the tracks look consistent, okay? We look at it that way, you can see how it runs on both sides there, going all the way up, and then on the other side too, going all the way up as it bends round and like drops down over that way, over this slight hill. So that is interesting. Now, do I have an image? Yeah, we do. This is from the mob crew of the Wash. Okay. This is near Dylan's farm in Lucin. This is Montello, okay? I just wanted to try and compare the track marks. Both do appear consistent. However, these track marks you can see from an aerial viewpoint, so they must be kind of bigger than these. In terms of the width though, kind of similar. In terms of the track marks, different. These track marks are like line after line after line, uniformed. Whereas these ones, it's like crisscross. You see, like diamond shaped. And you wouldn't really get that on a digger or excavator. These sort of tracks are what you would find on an ATV, like a quad bike or a buggy, okay? And as you saw, we saw a couple of those with the law enforcement. I'll show you a picture in a second or so just to re-jog your memory. So it could be that's the type of transport vehicle responsible. That is interesting. Now, do you want me to try and make the image clearer maybe? I could try that now. I'll do that now, okay? Just on the spot. Just so it's easier for you to see. Hopefully those track marks do show. Leave your thoughts in the chat, in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Let me know what vehicle do you think is responsible for these track marks, and who do you think has been here in recent time, okay? And as well, you got to ask yourself, could this be the causation to why law enforcement didn't find anything? Okay. It looks like it shows. Okay. That's the best I could do, to be fair. Okay. So you can see on both sides as it runs up that way. And yeah, I just wanted to refer back to these images, these pictures, as an example of the vehicles that could have caused the track marks. I'm not saying that the law enforcement are responsible, because the law enforcement visited after this, so it couldn't have been them. But the type of vehicle that could have been used by somebody else could have been a quad bike, an ATV, like that. As you see on screen, you look at the tread, the tyres, the width of it, it seems to check out. They're not too heavy, them either. More lightweight compared to, you know, standard vehicles and trucks. Or it could have been a buggy, like that. You never know. The wheels, not too thick, not too chunky. Yeah. Or that one. Kind of the same. So we've got examples on screen right now, which is good to refer back to get a stronger idea and sense of the type. Now, let's move on to the discussion of who could be responsible. Right, so I'm going to give my opinion right now, okay? You can let me know your thoughts as we go along. And then I need to go back on YouTube and check the comment section out, because there was a few interesting points mentioned there, okay? So, in my opinion, I think it could be Kurt. I'm just trying to think, who else has those type of vehicles? Chase Venstra. Well, there were reports of him being on a quad bike or something near Sun Tunnels, driving around. So he could have been cutting through and then ended up visiting Jim Brenner's old place, maybe to steal something because Jim's no longer living there. Or maybe it was to check up on something he might have buried there with Jim or without. I don't know, because, you know, they're known for burying things, so maybe Chase was going back there to make sure everything was okay, or to make sure things have been moved since. Let me know what you think of that, because supposedly there's been some material that Jim got from Chase in the past. There was big wooden beams or something. So they must have, you know, helped one another to transport it maybe. So if they have hung out before or something, then maybe Chase was just visiting, and every time we're seeing maybe the videos on YouTube before, oh shit, I better go back there before anything does happen. Just a thought. So yeah, using quad bikes if he's got access to that stuff. Now, who else? Kurt. I say Kurt because in one of Salty Pancake's videos when exploring Montello, when they were driving about in the open, the outskirts, you know, passing Lance and Kimber's homestead, as well as Ty's farm, they were in some kind of buggy, you know, one of those buggies. Looked a bit more advanced than the law enforcement ones, but with the tyre mark, the tyre tread, the tracks on it, that could be responsible. And, you know, what you saw at Jim's property on the ground, those marks. And you might be wondering, why would Kurt do something like that? Maybe Kurt is determined, he wants to take the law into his own hands, find something before other people do because he feels like nobody else is going to make a move, or maybe he doesn't have faith or trust. Ooh, low battery. Maybe he doesn't have faith or trust in law enforcement, you know, investigating because of past problems. Could be that. Or is there a darker reason? Did Kurt hear about it on YouTube, saw Lance's video and went, oh shit, I better get there quick. Like, I better get there quick to, you know, hide something or to take something away so no one does find anything. It could be like, oh shit, that ash pit where that bit of clothing and cloth was found nearby, I best pick that up and take it away before the law enforcement get back there. You know what I'm saying? That little bit of cloth that was near that ash pit, away from the actual trailer explosion, like something was burnt down and maybe there was bone fragments. You know, could all that have been taken away, put in a bin bag, and then just gone off somewhere with it? And that's why when the law enforcement finally came after that, they were unsuccessful. Makes you think, doesn't it? Because if there was no activity from when Lance went there till the law enforcement, then it wouldn't seem as dodgy. But if you know someone or something or a group have been there in between, we don't know who they are, they haven't made their presence known, they've done it anonymously, it does make you think, what was their intention? Were they just investigating out of curiosity? Or do they know something other people don't and they wanted to hide it, remove it, take it away before anybody else came across it when, you know, when the big guns come in? It just seems very dodgy. I don't know, like, as for the location, the coordinates, I don't know it. I don't know if anybody else knows the coordinates. Lance, Kimber probably will, or might just have a visual memory of where the place is located. I've not seen any coordinates anywhere, but Salty Pancakes said he knew the coordinates of the place. Where did he get the coordinates from? Who did he talk to? If he knows the coordinates, did he pass them on to Kurt, maybe? And then they took a visit down there. I mean, this is the thing. You can say Salty Pancakes is just doing his own thing and getting along okay. Yeah, that's probably the case. But unfortunately, with past, you know, encounters, not from my point of view, other people, how other people would see it, not me. With other people knowing that Pancakes and Kurt was responsible for setting up that spot, that hidden thing in the ground at Chase Venstra's homestead, that they staged something, then they could have definitely gone to Jim's former property to dig something up, to take something away. Who knows? Because something's happened there. And as well, I forgot to mention it in the clip, but there was a breaker bar, as you saw in that clip. And that breaker bar, whatever you call it, it's something to do with tightening or untightening bolts or something on the side of your car. You know, the wheels. You're trying to get a wheel off and you've got to unscrew those nuts. And you use that long bar to do it. And I guess the longer it is, the more leverage you've got on it. So, you know, did someone break down when they were there and they had to change the tyre? You know, just all these like little tiny points of what exactly happened. You know, there's a lot to take in. Let's just go to the comment section of the video just to see if there's any additional points. So here are some of the comments, I don't think in any particular order. One individual says, why hasn't law enforcement or FBI gone out and checked this place and dug around is the big question. Now bear in mind, these comments are before the law enforcement stepped in a day ago. So just be aware. Okay. And replies like, because they're chasing down other leads, Box Elder cops should be out there checking out these areas. I don't think Ellie believes Dylan is there. I think they have some working theories and devoting their manpower to that. It is nice to see locals out there searching. Okay. I think if those spots were where the shovels are at were checked, there'd be dug marks, is all I'm saying. Not just little poke marks in the ground since last video is all. So why revisit the area at all when then if Ellie and FBI have already ruled that area out? So, little points made. What else? Still hoping. Okay. Anything else? I bet everything the ones who done that. Okay, here we go. This is the interesting one. I bet everything the ones who done that are Kurt and Salty. They've been driving around a 4-door side-by-side. Could also be Kurt with his daughter, Taylina. 4 doors side-by-side. It's black. It was them. It was quite interesting when Kurt was told searchers found it, he gulped and was left speechless, not like him, like an oh shit moment. Yes, it was. Again, it was me that found the parcel ID and coordinates. What? And I picked up on that as well, mentioned my name to that guy, he goes ape shit. Oh, okay. Circle's closing in. Okay. Anything else? Okay, sure is. I constantly try to imagine what if the horribly misleading untruths Kurt Wadsworth, Candice and Jim Terry caused so much misinformation all along, but mostly in the first few weeks, that Dylan more probably could have been found. Okay. Anything else? Not much there. Well, speaking of side-by-side, check out Jason Rigulot. Ask him why there is a small child in the back of it and why he has Dylan's locations pinned. See truck and Dylan's property, shady at best. What the hell's that about? I don't know what that's on. Let me know what you think. I think you might have found it, nobody going to walk all that way just to throw a couple of shovels down. 2 shovels mean 2 people buried him. Not exactly. What's this? In his live with Zavgor, Ty said the firemen remember the shovels there 2 years ago when the house burnt down. I also would like to know if something buried there. Okay. Right. Not much else there. Makes sure and watch for tracks of different kinds mob crew found. Yep, I analysed that just before. I think Salty and Kurt was there, so another person thinking that. Interesting. Let's just see the newest ones, like what's come up. I've been wondering if there's any connection to the farmlands being bought up and his disappearance. Also, has there been more information about the Hispanic man jockey? The fuck? Is this the video that prompted the search? This is the second Jim Brenner video. I just came across you guys today during your live Q&A on a search warrant. I was wanting to watch the video you gave the authorities to make them. Okay. This is, yeah, okay. I'm not really answering the question there. The area near the shovel laying on the ground makes me feel sick. That pole/stick laying there on the bush makes me think it was used as a weapon to hit someone, knock them out and bury them. That might sound stupid. I think it was more to of it being vegetation, some kind of stick or tree branch or something, because it looked a bit flimsy. Confused. If Brenner has his own property, why was he living on someone else's? With equipment available, why didn't he just drag a camper and trailer there and live? How do you know what area you covered or didn't cover? My memory isn't that bad yet. Right, we'll leave it there. So there's a few little questions here and there. What's this one? No one went out to search with Ty or Lance. Oh yeah, I remember that. Pity I can't get my dogs there. Tracker dog. Cadaver. Ah, that's how you say it. Cadaver. I thought it was cadabra. Yeah, we'll leave it there. So yeah, just a few little points thrown about. You can leave your thoughts down below. It does seem very weird, doesn't it? I saw Salty Pancake saying he was going to go to Montello at some point, but he had to cancel it because of the weather in recent time, raining. If that's the case, I can't remember when that post was made on his community tab, but if it was raining heavy in Montello at that point, then it must be after that when the track marks were created, because since those track marks aren't deep, they could easily be washed away with heavy rainfall, right? So it does make you wonder. It could give an idea of who or when it happened. But it just seems like it could be Kurt because the vehicles he uses are kind of similar. And the fact that he's been all over the place in Montello, that gives me an idea as well. And the fact that Kurt assisted with Salty Pancakes staging that thing at Chase Venster's homestead isn't much of a good sign either. This is what I mean with past actions and past events by somebody acting dodgy. Once that's revealed, anything they do in the future will be questioned and they will be seen as one of the main suspects. It's just how it goes, even if they are innocent. So, very dodgy. I do think, although the main focus point is the breaking news of the law enforcement investigating, but also being unsuccessful, I think that needs to be put aside. The main point is who's been there beforehand and what did they do? What was their purpose and aim? Did that disrupt the law enforcement, or did law enforcement find something, oh, I'm keeping quiet or something? This is just patterns. This is exactly the same patterns as what I'm seeing from when I did the Kenny Veach mystery. When I did the Kenny Veach mystery in the past, you'd get a hiker going out there recording something like the Crystal Skull, Scott Natal recording the tent and sword, and then maybe someone covering, like Sean Hawlocker covering the cave, the covered M cave, and then when the same or a different hiker has returned back to the same spot, something has been missing. The environment has been altered with. Even on a rough one, just say a rough one, okay? When Frank from Exploring Abandoned Mines and Unusual Places, he allowed me to use some of his footage and analyse, etc. So that's credit to him. But when he went the first time, he found an Area 51 sign, which, okay, some people it's questionable, but from a blind perspective, it's like, oh God, what's that doing there? And then when he returned back again, there was a white sign outside saying restricted area. So that's a bit weird. When Scott Natal returned back to, or when someone returned back to the mine shaft in the Mojave Desert, Jermaine Canyon, the Crystal Skull wasn't there, okay? But when Jeff Clark went there back in 2017, it was. So someone must have been watching along. Same with Scott Natal with the sword and tent, went there, captured it on camera, went back again, the tent was completely missing and it was torn up, it was tied, it was caught on the rocks in a small little gully, so it couldn't have gone that far, and yet it's been moved. So the pattern was within the Kenny Veach case, whenever someone went out there, recorded it, uploaded it so it was publicly viewable, shortly afterwards or so, someone must have been watching those videos, keeping tabs, monitoring everything, went out there, or someone did, and then took things away, added stuff, removed things, etc. So it could be the exact same case with Dylan. People go out there, do the hike videos, record stuff, and they just so happen to indirectly, unaware, be on certain land or to stumble across something and they're not aware of it, and it is a hot spot or it is the spot of Dylan. And people who are watching, monitoring the dodgy people, the ones in the darkness, the revealed people, you know, the secret ones who are responsible. They could watch the videos and think, oh shit, we got to get out there quick. We've got to get back to this location because these people are getting too close now. They're narrowing in. And if there is more resistance now, if there are threats, if, you know, with Lance being the one getting all the threats aimed towards him because of his exploration, is it because of going across Jim's property and finding and recording what he came across and other places too? Is that why he's receiving threats? Because he's getting too close to the truth? There's a lot going on, isn't there? You know, you put aside the disappointment of the law enforcement and their investigation, and you look at this, which is much deeper and more mysterious. So leave your thoughts down below and give all your thoughts, okay? That's it for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.